It's over. One of the strangest, most exhausting, most innovative seasons in NBA history has finally ended. And as the Bucks celebrate their win on the streets of Milwaukee today, it's worth remembering exactly how we got here. Honestly, so much has happened, it's almost hard to wrap your mind about what a different world it was when this season started. When training camps opened, America had no COVID vaccine. A different president was still occupying the White House. Some sports leagues were still operating in bubbles. Others, like the NHL, were restructuring the entire way they functioned, so certain teams spent the season only playing each other. The NBA could have gone that route, too. Instead, it chose a more ambitious, more grueling path that required franchise to do more juggling than Red Panda on her unicycle. Starting just before Christmas, teams began crisscrossing the country, playing in nearly empty arenas, trying to keep coronavirus at bay with a rule book that felt longer than a Russian novel. Even the smallest traditions were disrupted, like usually teams that play on the road on Christmas Day organize a big team dinner for Christmas Eve. Instead, this season, when, say, the Mavericks came here to LA to play the Lakers, the most they were allowed to do was hand out flimsy cardboard boxes of food for players to take back to their rooms and eat by themselves. It was sad. Even with all of that, the pandemic still intruded. Positive tests led to quarantines, which led to games being postponed, which led to even more testing and rules for players. Remember when guys were first told they could no longer have guests on the road? Yeah, that went over well. Or that they couldn't shake hands or hug their opponents post-game, despite having just breathed and sweat all over each other for 48 minutes. Players had to get Q-tips shoved up their noses 3 times a day, sometimes a process that would often require them to be at the practice facility, I don't know, at 6 a.m., getting back from a road trip at 2 a.m. the night before. Games started vanishing from the schedule. At one point, the Wizards had 6 players test positive, forcing the team into a 13-day mid-season layoff. And yet the NBA soldiered on, reinventing itself as it went. We had new camera angles on TV broadcasts, a new all-star game format. The play-in tournament from the bubble was revived and tweaked, turning what is usually a sleepy final month of the regular season into an all-out sprint. And then the playoffs, which were their own kind of race, with the league trying to crown a champion under the wire before the Olympics started. With a vaccine now widely available, crowds returned. I was in Phoenix for their playoff opener against LA, and there was a point you could actually feel the building shake. Everyone there just so grateful for the chance to yell and scream and just be together, finally. We saw some insane performances, by the way. Kevin Durant finishing the Nets postseason run by playing 141 of 149 available minutes over the team's final 3 games. We also saw some devastating injuries. 10 All-Stars missed time this postseason due to injury, and that doesn't even count stars like Trae Young or Jamal Murray. And then finally, an exceptional finals between 2 remarkably even-matched teams with particularly joyous fan bases, capped off by a legacy-shifting performance from a 2-time MVP. The finals felt almost normal enough. You could forget what a winding path it took to get there. Except then you look at the calendar and realize we are, yes, still in bizarro world. It is July 22nd today, people, and we're watching a championship parade. Training camps for next season start just 2 months from now. The draft and free agency are in the next 2 weeks. But before we get there, it's worth marking what we just finished. A season with some hardships we would like to forget, but an overall accomplishment we should always remember.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.